Today we're recapping the science fiction thriller movie The Maze Runner. Spoilers ahead. A boy wakes up in an elevator, gasping for air. He's disoriented, looking around, when something jumps at him from beyond the elevator. He's startled and starts screaming for help when the elevator suddenly drops, the red flashing lights turning green, and the hatch opens. A group of people are waiting outside the hatch as it opens. One of them jumps in and pulls him out, and the others surround him, laughing. He pushes past them and runs away, but doesn't get far before falling. He stands and sees that a giant structure surrounds him. He gets thrown in a cage, and it's locked. He looks outside the bars and gets approached by one of the boys from earlier. He opens the cage, introducing himself as Albie. He asks him if he remembers anything, but he's unable to answer. Albie asks for his name, and he can't remember. He asks Albie why he can't remember anything, and Albie tells him it's normal, and that he'll get his name back in a day or two. He asks Albie what this place is, and Albie offers him a hand, opting to show him. He walks around, showing him the place where they live, known as the Glade. Albie tells him that the box, the elevator that brought him here, was the same thing that brings their supplies and provides everything they need to survive. It also brings a new member every month. He asks Albie who put them there, but Albie says that he doesn't know. They get interrupted by another person, who Albie introduces as Newt, Albie's second in command. Newt compliments him on his running, telling him he thought he had what it takes to be a runner until he fell. He asks what a runner is, and Albie tells Newt to go find someone called Chuck. Albie tells him that he came up a little late. They have a lot to do, and they have something special planned for the night. Albie shows him the entire field. He asks what's out there, motioning to the giant structure around them, and Albie tells him not to ever go beyond the walls. He meets Chuck and he decides to go check out the walls. Chuck tells him not to go in, and he asks why. He says he doesn't know. Two guys emerge from the structure and he confronts Chuck. Chuck explains that they're not allowed to enter the maze, but the runners are, since they know more about the maze than anyone. He goes to check out the maze again, and Chuck tells him that nobody enters the maze, especially not at night. He gets pushed to the side by the same guy that pulled him out of the box. He stands up frustrated and asks them why they won't tell him what's out there. Albie tells him that he's trying to protect them and can't let him leave. Cinema recap here. We've got a little challenge that'll take 5 seconds, and it will change your life forever. You ready? All you gotta do is like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and you'll receive 10 free years of good luck. It's as simple as that. He asks why not. But before Albie can say anything else, there's a sound from behind, from inside the maze, as the maze begins to close. It's nighttime, and there's a celebration. He and Newt talk about the maze. He asks Newt if they're trapped, and he tells him yes, but just for the moment, since the runners are mapping out the maze every day, looking for a way out. Newt tells him that the maze changes every night, which is why the runners are the only ones who know what's out there. He also says that the runners are made up of the strongest and fastest of them all, since they have to make it back before the maze closes, and they have to spend a night in the maze. And no one survives a night in the maze. Newt tells him about the Grievers, saying no one has ever seen them and lived to tell about it. He asks Newt how to become a runner, and Newt tells him that he has been chosen by Gailey, the guy that pulled him out of the box. Gailey spots him and asks him if he has what it takes. They spar a little, and Gailey trips him, hitting his head on the floor. This makes him remember his name, Thomas. They all celebrate and congratulate him, but are disrupted by a loud roar. Thomas asks what that was, and Gailey tells him that it was a griever. Albie tells him to tuck in for the night, and they all go to sleep, except Thomas, who gets flashes of memory before getting woken up by Albie. Albie tells Thomas that he isn't like the others, curious, and shows Thomas a wall inscribed with names. Some of the names have been crossed off. Thomas puts his name on the wall, officially becoming one of the Gladers. Thomas asks Newt about ways to escape, but Newt tells him the only way out is through the maze. He then tells Thomas to go into the woods and dig up some more fertilizer. He goes deep into the woods but gets attacked by one of the runners, Ben. He gets pushed to the ground as Ben tells him that it was all his fault. He starts choking Thomas, but he manages to knock him off and tries to run. He shouts, attracting the attention of the other Gladers. They manage to subdue Ben and check under his shirt to see a wound that looked infected, and Gailey says that he's been stung. Albie tells the boys to put him in the pit, and Thomas asks Albie what happened to Ben, and Albie explains that it's called the changing. Albie asks Thomas what Ben said, and he tells him, asking Albie how it could be his fault. Thomas asks Albie what's going to happen to him. The boys are at the entrance to the maze as Minho, one of the runners, leads Ben to the entrance. They all surround Ben, pushing him into the maze after Minho cuts his restraints. Ben begs them, but they continue to do what they're doing, pushing him into the maze. They force him into the maze just as the maze closes, leaving him in the maze at night. Gailey crosses Ben's name off the wall. Thomas gets more flashes of his memory and wakes up abruptly again. The maze opens and he sees Minho and Albie run inside. Thomas asks Newt about it, and he tells him not to worry. At sundown, they wait for Albie and Minho to return, but they still haven't returned. They watch as Minho comes into view, carrying Albie on his shoulder. They cheer him on, but Thomas sees that he won't make it. He rushed into the maze, barely making it to the other side. Minho tells him that he had just killed himself. Minho also tells him that they have to run as they hear roars getting closer, but Thomas disagrees. Minho tells him that they're already dead. Thomas sees the ivy and has an idea. He hoists Albie up the wall to keep him safe, but the wall starts shifting. Minho sees something in their distance, leaving Thomas. Thomas hides in the foliage as the griever walks past him. It eventually finds him and chases him through the maze. He managed to tangle it in some ivy and meets Minho to tell him to follow him. The monster chases them, and Thomas runs at the last second, running through the closing walls with the griever close behind. The next morning, the boys are waiting at the entrance to the cave. They have almost given up when one of them spots them coming out of the maze. They ask him if he saw a griever and he says he did, and Minho adds that he didn't just see a griever, he killed it. Gally says that going into the maze was a clear violation of the rules, but the others argue that he saved Albie's life. Gally disagrees, saying that killing one of the grievers was a bad idea. Before he can say anything else, there's a sound from outside. It's the box. They open it up and find a girl inside with a note that reads, "She is the last one ever." The girl wakes up, saying Thomas's name before falling unconscious again. They talk about everything that has happened so far, asking Thomas if he recognizes the girl, but he says he doesn't. They also express their worry about the note, saying they wouldn't be getting any more supplies to survive. Thomas decides to go back into the maze to check out the griever he killed. Minho decides to help him and they eventually enter the maze. They find the griever's body and find something inside it. Minho pulls it out, revealing some device with the number 7 on it. They show the device to Newt, who recognizes the numbers on it as the same ones on their supplies. Thomas tries to convince Newt that they need to go back, but Gailey disagrees, insisting that Thomas be punished. Newt agrees and makes Thomas a runner after giving him an appropriate punishment. Gailey disapproves and leaves. Minho shows Thomas the maze's layout. He says he thought they were still mapping the maze, but Minho tells him that there's nothing left to map. He reveals that Albie made the call not to tell anyone, to give him hope that there was a way out, and now there just might be. 2 boys run in, telling him that the girl is awake. She keeps throwing things at them until Thomas shows up and says his name. She lets him get close and keeps him at an arm's length with a knife. She asks him where she is and why she can't remember anything. He tells her the same thing Albie told him at the beginning, except she remembers her own name. It's Teresa. He introduces himself as Thomas. She asks who he is, and he tells her that he doesn't know before taking the knife from her. She calms down significantly and Gailey asks if she's coming down. Thomas tells them that he should give him some time, and all the boys leave. She asks him about the note and what it means, and Thomas tells her he doesn't know, just that everyone in the glade is worried since the box hasn't gone down since she came. He asks her if she remembers anything, and she tells him about the same dreams he had been having, with the same words, "Wicked is good." He tells her he had been having the same dreams, and that he saw her in them. She asks him if the others can remember, but he says no, asking her why they are different. She brings out 2 vials from her pocket and tells Thomas they were in her pocket when she woke up. She reads the inscription on the vial, WCKD, and Teresa asks him if they were sent here for a reason. Thomas realizes the vials are for Albie and goes to meet him. Newt disagrees when they tell him to use the vials, but eventually agrees. But before they can inject him, Albie grabs Thomas, telling him that they shouldn't be here. Then Teresa injects him with the vial, knocking him out. Gailey takes Thomas to the pit, and he tells Gailey that they can't stay here forever. The next day, Minho and Thomas go into the maze to find more clues. They head into the inner ring of the maze. The device they found inside the griever's body starts to click, and they follow it, leading towards a dead end. The clicking stops, and the dead end reveals a hole in the wall. They get scanned and the maze starts to shift and change as they run through it, but they manage to escape and return to the glade. They relay what they found, and Gailey starts to argue with Thomas. They get stopped by Teresa, who tells them that Albie's awake. They go to check in Albie and asks if he's okay, but he doesn't respond, only answering when Thomas asks him. He asks Thomas why he's here, but they're interrupted by shouting outside before he can reply. They go outside to see what's going on, and the other boys tell him that the maze isn't closing. Thomas tells everyone to go hide, but before they can do so, more entrances to the maze open all around them, and the Grievers attack. They start getting picked off by the Grievers. They make it to the village and hide inside as the Grievers prowl around. They manage to get in, grabbing some of the Gladers. Chuck gets grabbed but is saved by Albie, who gets taken instead. He tells Thomas to get them out of the maze before he's taken away. Gailey blames Thomas for everything, punching him and pushing him to the ground. Thomas tells Teresa that he needs to remember and stabs himself with a syringe he got from the Griever that took Albie. He falls unconscious and has all his memories recovered. He wakes up and tells him that the maze is a test and they were all experiments. He also tells Teresa that they are both parts of WCKD. He finds out that Gailey has taken control of the Glade and given everyone a choice to either join him or get banished with Thomas at sundown. Teresa refuses to believe that she was one of them, asking him why they would send her down there if she was with them. Thomas says it doesn't matter, and Newt agrees, telling Thomas to finish what he started. Thomas and Teresa get led to the maze entrance at sundown, and some of the boys disagree with Gailey. Gailey tells them that he doesn't want to cross off any more names on the wall. Teresa asks Gailey if he thinks banishing them will solve anything, and Gailey tells her that it's not a banishment, it's an offering. He tells his followers to tie up Teresa, and they're about to tie Thomas up when he attacks them, subduing them, and persuading some of Gailey's followers to follow him. He asks Gailey to come with him, but Gailey refuses. They enter the maze, going to one of the Grievers and attacking it. They manage to push past the Grievers and get to the wall, but it doesn't open. There's a password. Thomas asks Minho for the maze's sequence, and he manages to do so while fighting off the Grievers. Teresa inputs the password, and the passageway closes, killing all the Grievers. A door opens behind him, and it opens up into an underground passageway. They walk down the passageway, entering a facility containing a lot of dead bodies. Thomas finds a recording and plays it. A woman appears on a screen, introducing herself as Dr. Ava Page, Director of Operations at the World Catastrophe Kill Zone Department. She tells them that they have successfully passed the maze trials and explains the reason why everything has happened to them. She tells them that the sun has scorched the world, killing people, and the flare virus was something worse, attacking humans. In time, there was a new generation that could withstand the virus, and that's what made them so different and special. The woman ends the video, telling them that the trials have just begun, as masked figures attack the facility in the video, killing everyone, and the woman puts a gun to her head, ending the video after shooting herself in the head. They're confused, but Thomas tells them that they need to get out of there. They are stopped by Gailey, who has been stung and is holding a gun. Thomas tries to stop him, but he shoots, and gets a spear to the chest thrown by Minho. Chuck jumps in front of Thomas and takes the bullet for him. Chuck dies, and Thomas mourns his friend as some masked figures enter the facility and take him away. They enter a helicopter, flying over the maze and seeing their home one last time. The man asks if they're okay and tells them that everything is going to change. Ava Page is revealed to be still alive, and then says that the maze trials were a complete success. She announces the beginning of Phase 2 as the movie ends. This was a movie review for The Maze Runner, produced by Gotham Group, Temple Hill Entertainment, and TSG Entertainment. The stars in the movie are Dylan O'Brien, Kaya Scodelario, Thomas Brody Sangster, Will Poulter, and Patricia Clarkson.